99% of you have the exact same bottleneck. It's the same issue that I run into all the time. And that, my friends, is leads. In other words, you have not found enough people that need your stuff and want to give you money. And so in this video, I'm going to break down how I went from zero to over $1 million in net profit this year with my real estate business using the lead generation strategy that completely changed my life. And look, this stuff does not happen overnight. You are not going from 0 to 100 deals every week or month or whatever else it might be. It is a compound effect. But if you want to get to where you want to go eventually, you gotta know how to get there. So let's start off with this. The biggest mistake that you can make when you are looking for leads, which again, to be clear, is finding people who want to give you money for their stuff, okay? So here's the biggest mistake you can make right here. It's one and done leads, all right? What do I mean by that? Well, let's just think about regular, everyday world examples. For example, if you are going to buy a car, right? Now, it's never gonna be perfect, okay? I'm not perfect, so I'm trying to give you good analogies here, but if you're gonna buy a car, you're gonna go to the dealership. Check this art out, by the way. I'm gonna absolutely nail this. This is like preschool level drawing right here. Boom, that's your car. You're going to get a car, and what's happening is you're gonna buy this car one time, right? You go out, you buy a new car, you got a car, and you may never go back to that place to ever spend money again because you got your car. What does that mean for a car dealership? Well, it means that they need a ton of people to come in and buy cars to stay open and in operation, right? Well, what if you're a more normal Joe Schmo like myself and you don't want to have to go out and find 1 million people? Well, that was the mistake that I made that is very common in real estate, because just like this car example, I'll draw this out here with houses, again with incredible art. You got your house, you're gonna get that sucker under contract. In theory, you're gonna make some sort of money if all goes well, and then that's it. Okay, just like with the car, it's a one-time transaction. You go and flip a property, right? You flip it, you're done flipping it, that's it, you're done, right? You go and wholesale a property, you get under contract, you wholesale it, and you're done. And just like the car, that means what? It means you have to restart from scratch every time, or you gotta go find a bunch of people that wanna come buy your stuff. And when you're getting started, you don't have a bunch of people. So here's the discovery that I made. What if instead you had a product that came time and time again, that repeated over and over? In this same drawing, we've got our house. And that house is going under contract. And then there's some sort of money being made. However, instead of having the house there, we're gonna replace that house with this very friendly and smiley investor. Now, what does this do? Well, the difference is right here in the middle. It takes that one-time transaction and makes it an infinitely repeating transaction where somebody comes to you time and time again to make money without you having to do more work. And that right there, whether you understand it or not, which if you don't, stick around, we're gonna talk about it, that's what changed my life, because I was so sick of feeling this feeling of, oh, I made money for 10 seconds and then having to go back and start from scratch and do it all over again. It sucks. I don't want that for you guys either. So right now, you're struggling. You're at 0 and you're trying to figure out, how the heck am I supposed to get people to come to me and give me money? I'm gonna break down my 5-step plan for you guys on exactly how to do that, because I've already done this. And here is the first thing that I did when I was getting started. I created an attraction offer to bring in leads. And that attraction offer that I made was what allowed me, that one offer with one person, was what allowed me to quit my job, replace my income, and then get all of my time back to then compound that effect into the incredible business that I have now, that I'm very blessed to say is doing really well, when a few years ago was at big old fat 0, okay? So, in order, our goal is to get you more leads. Not next week, not next year, right now, while you are watching this video, you can do this with me. Number one, you got to identify a problem. And then come up with an actual solution, okay? In the real estate space, there are 1,000,001 problems out there. People don't know what they're doing. People don't know how to underwrite. People don't know how to manage things. People don't have enough money to do their projects. There's 1,000,000 problems going on. Here's the mistake you can make at this step: creating that problem out of your own brain. It is the dumbest thing you can do when you're getting started, especially if you're someone like me who doesn't have a ton of experience. Why would you think that you know better than the people who are actually going to give you money? So how do you go identify problems? It's actually super simple. You just go listen to the people who you're trying to solve problems for. What are they posting about on social media? What are they complaining about at your meetups? What are you seeing online, on your Facebook communities, inside of the groups, at the meetups that people are struggling with, okay? Now, some super simple examples of this is a realtor can't sell their house, right? Realtor can't sell their house. Solution for that might be creative finance. A flipper needs more money. Solution for that might be a hard money loan company. A new wholesaler cannot keep their crap organized. Solution to that might be some sort of an integrator that comes in and sets them up with automations and systems and whatever else. Do you see my point? Everybody in real estate is doing something and it's not going perfectly for them, which means there is a problem that can be solved. And whatever it might be, you can come in and create a solution for that problem. But first, you have to identify what the problem actually is. Now, I talked about this in other videos before. One of the biggest things that you can F up on this step is not picking one problem. You gotta find one that you're gonna focus on to create the solutions for. I don't know how many of you guys are watching this that I've worked with or spoken with in the past, but I know a lot of people out there that have creative finance underwriters out there, and they're also lending, and they're also wholesaling, and they're also flipping, and they're also building websites, and they're like, I'll just do everything. And unfortunately, although it may not look like it from the outside, those people are not doing nearly as well as you think, and not nearly as well as they wish they were doing, because they don't know how to freaking focus. It takes time to learn these skills. I'm trying to help you skip to the front of the line. So identify people's problems, come up with a solution, and if there's multiple, try and find the solution that creates the biggest gap between the problem that they have and the solution that you're going to be providing. For example, if you came to me and said, hey Ryan, I created this thing that can check all of your emails for you, right? I'd be like, okay, cool, but I only spend like 10 minutes a day on my emails. It's like, not a big deal, right? Now, on the other hand, if you're like, hey Ryan, I created this solution where I can get you access to $1 billion at 0% interest for your funding business, now that's a solution, right? I would be willing to pay you a crap ton of money to get access to that capital that you've gotten me at 0% interest, because that will massively impact my business. So if you had to choose between the two, obviously pick the one that's gonna have the greater impact that people are willing to pay more money for. And you may have to test that out. That's totally fine. But eventually, you gotta come up with a solution. Side note, your solution doesn't have to be correct or perfect the first time. If you try something, you can always change your mind, but you gotta actually get into it first. And so that's the second thing. I want you to create an unscalable solution. Such a big mistake in real estate is you look at people and you're like, man, you know what I'm gonna do? I've got $0 in income and no proof of concept, and so I'm gonna go spend $25,000 on this cold calling list and hire 10 VAs, and then it's gonna be epic and I'm not gonna have to do any work. You idiot, that is not how you do this stuff. You learn first before you earn. You build up the confidence, the skill sets, the things that you actually need to succeed. Your offer, your solution is not supposed to turn you into the next Apple yet. It's supposed to just get you started and maybe help pay for your food for a little bit. So don't get too far ahead of yourself. What do I mean when I say an unscalable solution? Think about it this way. At this point in my business, do I get on the phone with every single person that brings me a deal? Absolutely not. In fact, I don't speak to them at all. But when I was getting started, I had my phone available 24/7. I was getting on the phone. I was sending text messages. I was responding to emails instantly. In fact, it was one of my main points or features or focuses, I guess, of my business was rapid response rates. Rapid response rates. Why? Because that's something that's not scalable. Elon Musk is not going to text you back in 30 seconds. But you, as somebody getting started, you can do the unscalable and create things that can't be done over and over. Another example, right? If I'm working with a bunch of people, right? This is me. And I'm working with a bunch of you guys that are watching this video to try and help you get your first deal. Well, at this point, what am I doing to do that? Here it is. I'm making these videos, right? So that you can watch them, learn, take action, improve, and get closer to your goal. But when I was getting started and I didn't really know what to talk about and I didn't know what people needed, guess what I was doing? I would get on a phone with you, and I would get on the phone with them, and I would get on the phone with them, and I would get on the phone with them, and I would do what takes a lot more time, what's a lot more niche, right? You don't see the President of the United States getting on the phone for every single request or person that he needs to meet with because it's unscalable. But you are not that president. You are not that popular yet, and you do not have that valuable of time until you have built a business to garner that level of respect. So, for now, do the unscalable. And you don't even have to have a perfect solution out of it. You don't have to think like, oh, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna shift into that, and then I'm gonna hire here. Just do the unscalable, solve somebody's problem, and prove to yourself that it's actually worth getting paid for in the first place. If it's not, then nothing else is gonna happen. Now, number 3, take that unscalable solution and turn it into an attraction offer. This is where we really get into the good stuff. The attraction offers are juicy. You see them all the time, but you probably don't have one. And if you're somebody that is struggling to generate leads, I promise you it's because you do not know how to do this correctly. Now, what is an attraction offer? Have you ever seen those storage places? Where it's $1 for the first month. You know why they do that? They get you in there for $1. And then how long does the average person keep their stuff in storage? I don't know the answer. Probably like 5 years, right? So let's say it's $100 a month. They create an attraction offer to get you in for $1 a month. And then you pay them $100 a month for the next 5 years. They make a bunch of money, right? Boom. That was their attraction to bring you in. What about like a phone line, right? They might say, bring in your old phone and we'll switch it out for a new one, right? Maybe it's Verizon. They're like, bring in your old Verizon phone and we'll give you an AT&T phone for free. Now, what are you gonna do once you get that? You're gonna pay for the freaking AT&T phone plan, and then they're gonna upgrade you to a trillion other things you don't need, and then all of a sudden you're spending a bunch of money. But they brought you in with that attraction offer. Now, you're thinking, shut up, Ryan, and tell me how I can actually use this in real estate to make money. Well, there's so many different ways that you can bring people in. But the point is that you want to get people using your stuff first so that you can get the proof and credibility to back up what it is you're trying to do. So for me, as somebody that does transactional funding, right? I send people money short-term for their transactions. How did I create an attraction offer when I was getting started? Well, the first stuff that I was doing was funding EMD for people, which is earnest money deposits. And what I saw people doing was funding it for like 40%, okay? It's a very risky game, especially if you don't know what you're doing. So there's a high reward, so they were funding it for 40% and getting those deals done. And it was like very sloppy, like Send me an email and I'll try to get the deal funded or whatever, right? So I said, okay. Started talking to people, by the way, trying to identify what I could create that would be unscalable and attract them to work with me. And I said, what if instead, we'll call this EMD 2.0. I do that for, I'm gonna put this in quotes, 50% off. This is like, a niche business, so I don't know if you'd really call it 50% off. What if I did that for half of what people were doing, and I created an automated system for you to submit the deal so that you don't have to email me every time, and you just plug in the details and we generate the contracts and reach out to the title company, and I handle all that stuff for you, which is the unscalable part. And that was how I sold my first person on working with me. An attraction offer that said, hey, I'll do it for less than everybody else and I'll do better than everybody else to get you in the door. Now, technically speaking, I was making half the money that I thought I was going to make on that first transaction. But then I did a second one, a third one, and then ended up doing over 50 transactions with those same people, which made me tens of thousands of dollars, allowed me to quit my job and everything else, and it wouldn't have happened had I not brought them in the door. So, how can you do the same thing? It's pretty simple. Take whatever you're doing, make it cheaper than everybody else and better than everybody else, and then gather, and this is step number 4, gather the testimonials and feedback to get that stuff going to the moon. Have you ever seen somebody do like a introductory offer? The first 100 people in this new program get it for $100, and then after that it's $500. Why do they do that? Because they want to get you in the door, get you plugged in, and then get your testimonial so that they can share it with other people. Otherwise, it's all theory. So what are they doing? They're bringing you in with an attraction offer. And once you get people taking your attraction offer, again, in my example, with funding, what did I do? I started funding for a couple people that I was giving discounts to and going over the top to get them in the door. And then I started taking their testimonials and my proof from them and using that to get feedback and share it with other people. I remember specifically, I was on the phone with somebody and I sent them over an email with the statements from the deals I had just closed and a testimonial about working with me, and they said, done. Nobody else I've spoken to has any proof whatsoever that they can do this stuff. The reason I had that was because I was able to put this together first and get them in the door. Guys, if you have people coming to you looking to sell their house, looking to work with you, looking to buy something off of you, looking for you to fund their deals, and those people aren't working with you, it is not because it is necessarily a bad lead. It is most likely because you have not understood and nailed this part down right here. You got to bring people in the door first. And you have to think with that mentality, right? Again, if we're going to look at my incredible drawings, if we're going to look at the car business, which is the one time, right? Versus our money business that's going around and around again. Guys, you want to know the kinds of offers I put out there? I'll fund their first deal for free. I've made this offer to multiple people. Hey, how about this? I'll just fund your first deal for free. That way you can see how I operate. I can prove to you that I can do what I say I can do 10 times better than anybody else you know, and then we'll go from there. And guess what? I can handle that. I can fund somebody's deal for free, make no money, and then they say, you know what? I want to work with you on every deal for forever, and we'll get a little businessy here. That creates infinite lifetime value because that customer will come back time and time again. So many of you watching this have screwed up by being obsessed about making money on the front end. Nobody freaking cares about how much money you made last year or last month unless you're going to do the same thing again this month, preferably with even less effort so you can focus on the compound effect. But if you spend all of your time focusing on making $1,000 or $1,500, then you are going to miss out on the part that actually gets you a lead generation machine. I do not want you guys leaving this video going back into the world of grinding and trying so hard and finally finding that inch of success for a second, only to go back to the bottom and have to restart. So if you can identify a problem and create a solution that is actually helpful to people, please register this. Stop trying to get people to give you money if it's not benefiting them. Nobody cares about you. You are not going to help their business by them just doing you favors, okay? That may make you some money at some point, like making somebody feel bad, but what if you just built a business that actually helped people? Then you don't have to ask the question, right? The better the solution to the problem, the better you're gonna do. Create that solution, look at what other people are doing, and then go 10x, right? I always talk about there's an advantage to big, there's an advantage to small. You being at the beginning means that you can make yourself available, you can get on the phone, you can do 10 times more than I'm probably able to do for an individual client, and that is how you get them in the door. The third thing, create an attraction offer that actually makes them want to work with you more than wanting to work with somebody else, because once you get them in the door, that is your opportunity to prove to them that you can do what you say you can do better than anybody else. But if they never come in the door, they'll never even know that you tried. And then number 4, get those testimonials, get the feedback. Really, what I'm saying in this is build up that cred. Build up the cred that says you can do what you say you can do. And if you can do those 4 things, then we can move to our final step. So you've identified the problem, you've created some sort of solution to that to then attract people in and get their testimonials, and then you're going to take that and you're going to share it and scale using this right here. You don't start here. You do not start at full speed. You are never going to start at 100%. You have to start at 0 and build up that foundation. But if you build up a foundation that's repetitive like this, like I was very blessed to be able to figure out, then it compounds month over month. You may spend 6 months at 0 and then make $1,000 and then 2 and then 3 and then 10 and then 20 and then 50. And before you know it, you don't even know what the heck happened. But that doesn't happen on accident. It happens by following a system that actually works. Lead generation is simple. If you create something that people need and you get it in front of the right people, and you can do that enough to gain the credibility, the testimonials, the experience that you need to then go share that with other people, you will never struggle for leads another day in your life. But if you keep throwing spaghetti at the wall and playing a guessing game, then your business will be a guessing game as well. Don't make that mistake. Go create leads that want to work with you by solving real problems, and the rest, that'll be a story to tell. I hope this has been helpful to you. I'll see you in the next one.